Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Cameron's Sports Podcast. This is your host here, Cameron Lindsay, back for another episode. Today's episode, I'm going to be giving my Week 4 NFL predictions, and I'm mostly going to be talking about the Georgia versus Alabama game, with the number 2 team in the nation, Georgia, taking on number 4 Alabama. This is a huge game for not only the SEC, but all of college football. I can't wait to get into it, so let's get into today's episode. Starting off with my Week 4 NFL predictions. First up, we got the Dallas Cowboys who are 1-2, coming off an embarrassing loss at home. Even though they did come back, but the game was not as close as the score looked. If you was watching the Baltimore game versus the Dallas Cowboys game, the Ravens dominated that game for the most part. Now, they did let up and let the Cowboys come back to make it closer. But I think the Cowboys got huge problems. Their defense is not as dominant as it used to be in the past. They're easy to run the ball on. Trayvon Diggs doesn't look right. But even though, granted, he is coming off a ACL injury from last year. The receivers aren't stepping up. Brandon Cooks still look the same. CD didn't have a good game, but CD's the only receiver they got. They don't really have an established run game because you got Zeke Elliott, who's not in his prime, Dalvin Cook, who's on the practice squad, and I forgot the other running back's name. But they're taking on the Giants, who are just a mess. Yeah, they got Malik Neighbors. They got some talent, but I just don't believe in Daniel Jones. He's not it. He has more picks than touchdowns ever since he signed that $40 million contract about 2 years ago. So, like I said, I just don't. I think this probably most likely will be his last year as a New York Giant. And I think they're going to be looking for a quarterback in next year's draft, whether that be Carson Beck, Shedeur Sanders, Cam Ward. You got a couple good quarterbacks you can look at. But I'm going to go to Dallas Cowboys. I don't believe they're going to lose 3 straight games, especially to the New York Giants. I don't think they have any talent outside of Malik Neighbors. They do have some on defense on their defensive front, and Dexter Lawrence and old buddy they got from Carolina, Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, and Kayvon Thibodeau. They do got some talent at the defensive line position, but if your offense is constantly going 3 and out, you're not going to really play any results. So I'm going Dallas big. I expect Dak to have a good game. I'll be shocked if the Cowboys lose it. If they lose this game, they really got some big problems. This will be a Thursday night game to kick off Week 4 in New York. September 26th, 8:15 p.m. So I'm going to Cowboys big over the Giants. I think the Cowboys usually always dominate the Giants, so I expect the Cowboys to bounce back, get an easy win to bounce back from the last couple of losses they had this season. Next up, we got the Denver Broncos 1-2 taking on the Jets, who are 2-1. This will be Sunday, 1:00 game. I'm going with the Jets coming off of 2 straight wins against the Titans and the Patriots. They struggled against the Titans at first, but they, okay, cool, it's early in the season. They dominated the Patriots, even though that is the Patriots. Jacoby Brissett at quarterback, even though, like I said, he's a decent, established veteran quarterback. Gerard Mayo, rookie head coach. But the Patriots really don't have a lot of talent on the offensive end. They got some on the defensive end with Christian Gonzalez, even though they did trade their best defensive player, Matthew Judon, to Atlanta. But I give the Jets, that's still a nice win. Aaron Rodgers looked nice. The Jets offense looks pretty good. Now, the Broncos are coming off an impressive win in Tampa Bay. I ain't going to lie. I picked Tampa to blow the Denver out. I thought Baker Mayfield looking really, really good, nice, that Bucs offense. But Denver came in on the road. Bo Nix played phenomenal. I got to give it to him. But I think around this time, I think the Jets, especially with that defense, Sauce Gardner, Quentin Williams, I just think the Jets will be too much for Bo Nix on the road, and I expect the Jets to win this game at least by 10 points. I'm going Jets over the Broncos. Vikings, Packers, this one I thought about a little bit because, if the way Sam Darnold is playing, the Vikings are I think, a legit good team this year. They have shocked me, beating the 49ers, dominating the Houston Texans, a Texans team with C.J. Stroud, Joe Mixon, Stephon Diggs, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, Will Anderson. they have been like they dominate Houston 49ers, Nick Bosa, like and oof, and George Kittle and them boys, Fred Warner, they are dominating these teams. The Vikings are better than I thought. The defense, I thought the defense is kind of washed. They got Harrison Smith. He's a good safety, but he's not what he once was. They're looking pretty good. And I was talking to one of my coworkers at work, and he was asking me about the Vikings, about Sam Darnold. As Sam Darnold is he finally good? Like, was it the other teams? I think Sam Darnold has found a situation where the right offense. Kevin McConnell is a good head coach, a good offensive mind. He has, and it doesn't hurt to have Justin Jefferson, who's arguably the best receiver in football. Him and Tyreek Hill, you can go back and forth. But Justin Jefferson's a top 3 receiver in the league. So that doesn't hurt at all to have him. But Sam Darnold has been playing very, very well. I think the Vikings look like a legit playoff contender. I'm not going to go Super Bowl contender because it's too early. Anything can happen. But the Vikings looking good. Now, the Packers, on the other hand, coming off, impressive wins without Jordan Love. I thought they would struggle. I thought they'd probably be 0-3 right now. But they're 2-1. Jordan Love will be playing this week from what it looks like. Now, as you're seeing this episode, it could change. He could be ruled out, but he's likely to play. And if he does, like I said, this could be a close game because this is at Lambeau. If this was at Minnesota, I'd be 100% on the Vikings. But I'm not completely sure. I'm like 50-50. But I'm going to slightly go Vikings. The reason is because I don't know how healthy Jordan Love is going to be. Is he going to be fully 100% in this game? Is he going to be able to get Christian Watkins the ball, Romeo Doubs, Reed? Is he going to be giving all of them the ball? But I think the Packers probably will mostly run the ball with Josh Jacobs to take the pressure off of Jordan Love. But I'm still going to go Vikings. I think Sam Darnold is going to be a close one. Sam Darnold has been playing phenomenal football, and I got to give it to him. Justin Jefferson has been looking nice. So I'm going Vikings slightly over the Packers because I don't know how healthy Jordan Love is going to be in this game. But this is going to be a 1 o'clock game, also September 29th. Next up, we got the New Orleans Saints taking on the Atlanta Falcons. Saints are 2-1. The Falcons are 1-2. Saints coming off a loss at home against the Eagles. Falcons coming off a Sunday Night Football loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. This one I went, back and forth a little bit because the Falcons, they came off a loss at home against the Steelers. They went on the road and beat the Eagles, even though the Eagles could have won that game if Saquon caught that ball, but he took responsibility for that. It happens. Nobody's perfect, so I'm not blaming Saquon at all. But they came off an impressive win on the road at Philadelphia. The Saints, they looked good in their first 2 games. They dominated the Carolina Panthers, even though that is the Carolina Panthers, we know. But they dominated Dallas on the road. They put up 40-plus points, looking phenomenal. Derek Carr playing some of the best football I've seen him play, especially compared to last year when that Saints offense was horrible. Their defense has always been good, but their offense was horrible last year. So I'm thinking they going to keep their foot on the pedal against the Eagles because the Eagles secondary, the defense, has not been playing all that well. The Eagles defense stepped up. They look very good now. Derek Carr did struggle, but I think that he's going to bounce back. I think it's going to be a hard-fought game. 2 rivals in the NFC South. But I'm going Saints still. I trust the Saints defense more, a little bit more than Atlanta, even though Atlanta has gotten better on the defensive end. They signed Justin Simmons in free agency, traded for Matthew Judon. You got A.J. Terrell. You got Jesse Bates. So that Falcons defense. You got old buddy, the defensive tackle, Grady Jarrett. You got him. So the Atlanta defense is pretty solid. I just hope that Kirk Cousins will be able to get the ball to Josh, the tight end, and run the ball. Use their offensive weapons. Kyle Pitts and them boys, give them the ball. Drake London, if he's able to get them the ball, I think Atlanta will probably win this game. But I'm going Saints because I trust the Saints defense more, and I think the Saints are going to bounce back in a close one over Atlanta. Next up, we got the Eagles 2-1 taking on the Buccaneers, who's also 2-1. Now, this game is a little hard because even though the Buccaneers did come off a tough loss against Denver at home, Baker Mayfield has been playing phenomenal besides last game. The Eagles, Jalen Hurts, he's a turnover machine. I said on my Facebook in a post, I don't think he's going to get back to that MVP type of football he was playing when he almost won it before he got hurt, I think he's probably more like going to be an average quarterback, which is fine as long as you're winning. But he's a turnover machine. Like I think the reason the Eagles beat the Saints because of their defense and Saquon. They ran the ball really very well in the second half, but Jalen Hurts got to stop turning over the football. It's like he just can't help it. That's the reason the Eagles lost the Super Bowl to Kansas City that 2 years ago. The Eagles would have won that game if Jalen Hurts didn't fumble that ball. But I'm gonna go Eagles slightly because I think their defense. I think their defense can try to recap what they did in New Orleans because I think it's real hard to play in New Orleans versus Tampa. So I feel like it'll be a close one. Just hopefully Jalen Hurts just not turn the football over. The Eagles can win this game. Run the ball with Saquon. I think Devontae Smith's gonna be out. I think with a concussion. A.J. Brown is still out. So you really gonna have to run the football with Saquon to win this game. Rely on the running the football, and you win this game. I'm going to Eagles. Next game, Bengals 0-3 taking on the Panthers who are 1-2. Bengals they're struggling really, really, really bad. They're coming off a bad Monday night loss to the Commanders at home. I picked the Bengals to win. I thought they would dominate. I'm like, okay, the Bengals start out 0-2 almost every year, and they always end up making the playoffs. Besides last year, but I got concerns now. I don't think their defense is as good as and really anymore. Besides Trey Henderson, Joe Burrow, he's looking okay, but it's like their defense though. It's really their defense is the problem, and I don't think the Bengals are as good as we think. Like I know people automatically think, oh, the Bengals are Super Bowl contenders. I'm not so sure about that. And I know they got problems in their organization. Jamar Chase wants a contract. He took a $50 million insurance policy this season. I wouldn't be surprised if his future, even in an interview, he said, the reporter asked him, would he like to retire in Cincinnati? He said, that wouldn't be too bad. Based off his answer, I don't think he wouldn't mind possibly going somewhere else. So I'm not sure Jamar Chase is going to be in Cincinnati next year. I hate to say it may look that way. The Panthers coming off an impressive win on the road against the Las Vegas Raiders. With Andy Dalton at quarterback, they had benched their first overall pick, Bryce Young, in his second year. Now, I was going back and forth with this game because I'm like, I don't trust the Bengals defense. The Panthers, they did come off a win, but do I really trust them? But I'm going with the better quarterback. I think there's no way the Bengals can lose to the Panthers. Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. There's no way you lose 4 straight games and one of them being to the Carolina Panthers. One of the worst teams in all of football right now. I'm going Bengals to win this game. Next up, we got the Jaguars 0-3 taking on the Texans 2-1. The Jaguars kind of a humiliating loss on the road to the Buffalo Bills, who look very great at home. That fan base is amazing. Like, I ain't gonna lie, I gotta give it to Buffalo Bills fans. They're amazing. My future father-in-law lives in Buffalo. He likes the Bills a little bit, and they're looking very, very nice, just like the Saints, because I know he's a Saints fan. Shout out to Mr. Whited. But yeah, the Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence and them are now looking very good. Texans now, they coming off an embarrassing loss on the road to Minnesota, but Minnesota is actually a very, very good team, way better than we thought. So there's no shame to losing to Minnesota. But I'm going Texans here. I don't think this is going to be close. I think possibly Doug Peterson could possibly get fired at some point I wouldn't be surprised if he gets fired after this game if they go 0-4. I wouldn't be surprised if he does. If Doug Peterson gets fired, if the Jaguars lose this game, especially a blowout, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets fired. Next game, we got the Steelers 3-0 coming off a win against my Chargers at home versus the Colts 1-2. Justin Fields has been playing really well. Even though they beat my Chargers, Justin Herbert got hurt, but he played well. The defense is looking very well. The Steelers, I think, a little bit better than we thought. And I think they might be better off with Justin Fields at quarterback, even if Russell Wilson comes back healthy. Because if Justin Fields is playing solid football, not great, but even solid, why move him to the bench? You got a great defense, T.J. Watt, Cam Hayward, Mika Fitzpatrick, Joey Porter Jr. There's no way you should change anything. I'm going Steelers to beat the Colts to improve to 4-0. I think the Steelers are looking like a legit playoff team. And I'm happy for Justin Fields, especially the way he was treated in Chicago by the organization. The Steelers are looking right, so look out for the Steelers. Next up, we got the Rams 1-2 taking on the Bears 1-2. This one I went back and forth, but the Rams coming off an impressive comeback win over the 49ers. The Bears coming off a tough loss on the road against the Colts. But the Rams are still missing Puka Nacua. They're losing Cooper Kupp. But I'm still go Rams because I believe in Sean McVay, their offensive mind, Matthew Stafford. I think they're going to find a way to beat the Bears in a close one. Caleb Williams has not been playing his best football. He did throw for over 300 yards, but he still had 3 interceptions. I still think he's going to have some growing to do, which is okay. But I got the Rams in a close one over the Bears. Next up, we got the Commanders 2-1 taking on the Cardinals who are 1-2. Commanders coming off an impressive win on the road against the Bengals. Jaden Daniels played phenomenal football. He made some great throws, especially to the one to Terry McLaurin to seal the game. That was a beautiful throw. He played very, very well on Monday night. The Cardinals coming off. Who did the Cardinals play? I ain't gonna lie, I forgot who the Cardinals played, but they looking decent. But I'm gonna go Cardinals slightly because I trust Kyler Murray a little bit more than Jaden Daniels. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is gonna have a pretty solid game. This is gonna be a good game though, but I'm leaning towards Arizona. If it was in Washington, I'll lean Commanders, but I'm going Cardinals. Next up, we got the Patriots taking on the 49ers, both 1-2. I'm going 49ers, not even close. I think the 49ers bounce back. Patriots are a young team that's lack a lot of talent. Next up, we got the Kansas City Chiefs 3-0 taking on my Chargers 2-1. This is a 4:25 game. I'm going to Chiefs. I think with Justin Herbert having a high ankle sprain, Derwin James just got suspended. Joey Bosa stays hurt. He's not going to play. Joe Alt, it's been reported, rookie tackle Joe Alt, he will be out. Rashawn Slater's injured now. Joshua Palmer didn't play last game, so I think we are already hurt pretty badly, and there's no shame of us losing this game. We start off 2-0. We'll be 2-2. I'm still proud of my Chargers. We ran the ball decently this season. Now we played a Steelers team that was really good defensively, so we didn't run the ball all that well. I think if Justin Herbert would have played the game, we probably could have won, but I just don't think we have enough to keep up with Kansas City. Patrick Mahomes, Rasheed Rice, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce. I just don't think we have enough to keep up with the Chiefs, especially if Justin Herbert does not play. And I would not risk it, especially with a high ankle sprain. He's too much of an elite quarterback to rush just for one game. But if he does, I would not be surprised. Next up, we got the Browns 1-2 taking on the Raiders 1-2. Raiders coming off a bad loss at home against Carolina. Browns coming off a bad loss as well. I'm going to go slightly Browns only because of their defense, not because of Deshaun Watson. I really think he's playing like a tomato can. I'm sorry. I just don't think he's not the same Deshaun Watson as he was before those allegations. And it's sad when he was in Houston. It's sad because the Browns got a lot of talent. Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett, Njoku, the tight end, Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy. They got a lot of talent. They got mid to below mid average quarterback, and Deshaun Watson is playing like it. It's like he forgot how to play football. But I'm going Browns slightly over the Raiders. Next, we got the Buffalo Bills against the Baltimore Ravens. Sunday Night Football. This one I went back and forth because the Bills are playing phenomenal. Josh Allen looked like one of the lead candidates for MVP. He looks good. James Cook looks good. They had a blowout win over Jacksonville at home. The Ravens coming off an impressive win on the road at Dallas after starting off 0-2. Because I'm like, okay, this game is in Baltimore. If it was at Buffalo, I'll clearly go Buffalo. But I'm like, can Lamar and his offense repeat what they did at Dallas? But they also did let Dallas come back and make it a ball game late. So and Baltimore has trouble keeping leads. Like when I've seen them be up huge and then let a team come back. So I'm like, can I trust them not to do that against Buffalo, especially how hot Buffalo's been playing? I don't know. I might have to slightly lean Josh Allen because he has the hot hand right now. Even without Stephon Diggs, I'm going Buffalo slightly over Baltimore. Even though I do think Lamar is a better quarterback, but right now Josh Allen just has a hotter hand, and I just cannot go against him right now. Next up, we got the Titans 0-3 versus Dolphins. This is one of the Monday Night football double hitters. I'm going Titans. With Tua being out due to concussion, the Dolphins look terrible on offense against Seattle. They only scored 3 points. Even though it's at home, I'm going Titans. I think Will Levis will do just enough to win this game. You got, I don't know if DeAndre Hopkins is going to play. You still got Calvin Ridley. You got a few, Tyler Boyd. I go slightly Titans because I don't trust the Dolphins quarterback situation right now. Even their backup quarterback, Skylar Thompson, got hurt and knocked out of the game in Seattle. So they don't really have an answer at quarterback. I don't know. I have to wait and see the news who's going to be starting. I'm going Titans slightly over the Dolphins. And lastly, the second Monday night hitter, Seahawks 3-0 taking the Lions 2-1. The Seahawks are looking pretty nice, 3-0. Lions 2-1. They're off to a good start as well. But I'm going to Lions, especially at home. Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, they're playing well. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, an old buddy out of Michigan. I forgot his name. I know his name. Aiden Hutchinson, and also the rookie out of Alabama, Terry Arnold. They're playing well. I'm going Lions slightly over Seattle. I just trust Jared Goff and them at home. If it was at Seattle, I could see you going to Seahawks, especially in the environment. But in the dome, Lions, Jared Goff, Amon-Ra St. Brown, I like them over Seahawks slightly. But y'all, let's get into the Georgia-Alabama game. Are y'all ready? Now, this is a huge game. Georgia ranked number 2, Alabama ranked 4. They got a history the past couple years since 2018. In the national championship in 2018, Alabama defeated Georgia 26-23. That was the game where Tua, as a freshman, came in the second half over Jalen Hurts, who was benched because Alabama's offense was struggling against Georgia. Tua Tagovailoa had a Hail Mary throw, which that connected to Devontae Smith. Alabama ended up winning the game at the last second, the last play of the game. And also, that was a 2018 national championship game. Now, for the 2018 season in the SEC championship game, Alabama defeated Georgia 35-28. That was the game where Tua got hurt. Jalen Hurts came in, who was formerly the starter but the backup, ended up winning the game for Alabama against Georgia. Now, fast forward to 2020, regular season game, Georgia at Alabama. Alabama defeated Georgia 41-24, pretty much dominated that game. And then the 2021 SEC championship game, Alabama played Georgia again. They pretty much dominated them 41-21 in the SEC championship game. That was with Bryce Young. And then that same year, in a rematch in the national championship game in 2021, Georgia defeated Alabama 33-18. Stetson Bennett and the boys looked good. Keely Ringo, they dominated Bryce Young. That Georgia finally broke the hump and won a national championship game, especially beating Alabama. But then in like I said, last season, Alabama beat Georgia 27-24. Nick Saban's last year at Alabama, which we didn't know at the time. But technically, Kirby Smart does not have the best record. He's 1-9 since becoming the head coach at Georgia against Alabama. But lately, like I said, Alabama has won 2 of the last 3 national championships. And I like I said, technically Alabama is Georgia technically is a new Alabama. Like I said, the recruiting class as well, especially with KJ Bolden, 5-star safety in the 2024 class. Eli Robinson out of IMG, number 1 corner, number 1 overall player in the 2024 class. Georgia is looking very, very well. They even got some key players in this game. Quarterback Carson Beck, defensive end Mikael Williams, both listed to be first-round picks in the 2025 draft. You got running back Trevor Etienne, defensive back Malachi Starks, who's also going to possibly most likely be a first-round pick. Key players for Alabama to watch in this game, Jalen Milroe, who's a Heisman Trophy candidate, defensive back Malachi Moore, and freshman since 17-year-old sensation Ryan Williams. So both of these teams got a lot of talent. The head coach, Kirby Smart for Georgia, Alabama, Kalen DePore, who was the head coach at Washington, who played in the national championship game against Michigan. So these are 2 talented teams with 2 very good head coaches. I think the winner of this game is going to be representing the SEC represent, going to be one of the teams to represent in the SEC championship game out of the SEC because there's no more divisions. Now, this, like I said, this is at Alabama, so this makes it even more interesting. But Nick Saban's not there. So this makes it even more interesting. Like, okay, can Kellen DeBoer out-coach Kirby Smart at home in his first year? Can he really do that? I know Georgia in the last game, they struggled on the road at Kentucky. It happens. I like I said, it happens. Especially SEC competition, you struggle. I think it happens to almost every good team that's legit. You gonna have at least one bad game. I don't hold that against Georgia, but like I said, I did have Alabama going 10-2, only losing to two teams. One being Missouri, and the other is Georgia. I'm going Georgia to win this game. I just think Georgia has a better coach in Kirby Smart. They got more talent. Carson Beck, Mikael Williams, Trevor Etienne, Malachi Starks. Even though they do lose some talent on defense, I think Georgia has more talented players. Alabama lost their superstar safety Caleb Downs to Ohio State. Even though they do got Malachi Moore, they do got some talent on Alabama, some freshmen, some transfers. They do got Ryan Williams, who's only 17, but he's going to be a superstar at Alabama. Jalen Milroe's looking good. He's one of my Heisman Trophy candidates already. I just trust Georgia more, but it's going to be a close game. I'm going Georgia 20, Georgia 23, Alabama 17. I think Georgia will get the slight win over Alabama. I trust Kirby Smart a little bit better than Kalen DeBoer because this is his first year. But I still think Alabama's going to make the playoff. I just don't think they are ready to beat Georgia without Nick Saban. I have to see it to prove me wrong. If they beat Georgia, I will come on my next episode and say I was wrong. Now, I'm going to be betting money. I'm pretty sure going to be people on Facebook betting money or who want to bet Alabama-Georgia game. But I'm going Georgia. I got my reason. Carson Beck. They got the better quarterback than Carson Beck. They got a better defense. They got a better run game. Receivers, I could probably maybe slightly give. It's close. Slightly give the edge. Maybe talent-wise. Well, it's close but besides Ryan Williams, it's close. But I'm going Georgia more. I just trust Carson Beck a little bit more than Jalen Milroe. And like I said, I trust the better head coach, Kirby Smart, which is more than Kalen DeBoer. I know Kalen DeBoer led Washington to the national championship game at Washington, but he's in the SEC now. Nick Saban was a defensive-minded coach. He had the defense right. Kalen DeBoer is more of an offensive mind. And Alabama's defense has been really all that dominant. I know they played UCF and Western Kentucky, but those are Group of 5 teams. They did dominate Wisconsin on the road, but Wisconsin's not even that good to begin with, to be honest. This is going to be a real test for Alabama. It's going to see how good they really are going to be this season. Even if they lose, it's how you lose. So I got Georgia 23-17. Even last year when Alabama lost to Texas at home, guess what they did? Went on a run and made it to the SEC championship game, won, and got in the college football playoff. So even though I got Alabama losing this game, I still got them making the playoff. I think Georgia is the better team overall. Like I said, Georgia has won the past 2 out of the last 3 national championships. Even though the last game they did lose to Alabama in an SEC championship game, 27-24. Again, Nick Saban was the head coach. And guess who Kirby Smart struggled against? Nick Saban. He's not there. It's Kalen DeBoer. So, and plus, like I said, Alabama did have a couple players transfer. So I'm going Georgia. Y'all let me know in the comments who you got in this game. Georgia versus Alabama. This is a huge game that not only defines the SEC, who's going to be playing in the SEC championship game, but who's going to be in the college football playoff. Because the SEC champion is going to automatically get a first round bye. So if Alabama wants a first round bye, they might want to have to beat Georgia in this game. I think this is clearly Alabama's hardest game on their schedule, even though it's at home. This is Georgia. I'll say the second hardest game. The first hardest is going to be at Texas, which I'm definitely going to be doing an episode talk about that game on the episode too. But I'm very excited for this game. It's 7:30 p.m. Saturday, September 28th. Make sure you are tuning in to this game. Again, I'm going Georgia. I have my reasons. Carson Beck, they got better players, talent. Carson Beck, Mikael Williams, running back Trevor Etienne, Malachi Starks. I know Alabama got Jalen Miro, Malachi Moore, Ryan Williams. I just think Georgia has more talent. Like I said, look out. I look out for. I see players like KJ Bolden, a 5-star safety, and uh, maybe Elias Robinson have an impact, especially KJ. I think he's going to have an impact in this game. Look out for KJ Bolden out of Buford High School, freshman. I think he's going to have a good game. I think Ryan Williams is going to have a decent good game also. But it's going to be, I really want to see what he does against high SEC competition, not against Western Kentucky or Wisconsin, UCF. I really want to see how Ryan Williams does. Even if he has a bad game, it's not the end of the world. He's a freshman. He's only 17. He's going to be a superstar. So I think Ryan Williams is going to be fine. But I want to see some hard-nosed football from both of these teams, no matter who loses. I want to see some great football. I know y'all do too. So make sure you tune into this game. I pray I don't work Saturday.